Kahalal, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rekah Kadash, that will honor the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and salutation to the Akim, pushing this word in truth and sincerity. Another hit as I stroll down the road. This one is from Vox. Yeah, it says here, why ancient Rome kept choosing bizarre and perverted emperors. Why? You know why? Because they are a bizarre and a weird and perverted people. The Idumeans, the Edomites, they've known for that. Boy lovers, just done a lesson on boy loving. They're reprobates, voyage of judgment. They're just the Lord made it. He said, I made all things. The Lord made all things for himself. Proverbs 16:4, even the wicked for the day of evil. The so-called Caucasian race was made for the day of evil. And we're in ill times now. Evil means, as you can see, Babylon the Great, yeah? Confusion. The Lord made all things, even the evil, even for the wicked for the day of evil. And the Edomites have had, this is their third crack at being, at trying to get it right. But obviously they can't get it right because they're not a right people. Right means to do right. They're on the left-hand side, the evil side. So it says here, why? And the Jake woman, she loved Esau. She's in there with the Edomite man. See her? See her with Esau? Yeah, over the shoulder. See her? That's the Jake woman. See her there? Full attention. She's attentive to the Edomite, you know, to the Edomite man. Full attentive, yeah? Look at her. She ain't looking away. Her attention is on the Edomite, yeah? She loves master. But that's another thing, yeah? So it says here, she loves the ancient homosexuals, Greeks, Greco-Romans. She loves them. And it says here, why ancient Rome kept choosing bizarre and perverted emperors. It says here, some of the most famous Roman emperors were perverted, megalomaniacal, or just plain crazy, weird, fixations of Caligula and Nero made them household names. All you got to do is watch these films about these ancient Romans. Yeah, Caligula and Nero. I watched Caligula years ago. He had a ring and he put his finger in a little boy's bottom. This is what these guys do. They're perverted. It says here. But these stories have always raised a difficult question. It's not difficult if you know this man. The white man's he's the Edomites of the Bible. The Lord made him crooked, made him weird, reprobate. Everything evil that our God, our King and our Lord, yeah, made him that way. Because you got to have good, you got to have evil, you got to have hot, you got to have cold, you got to have left, you got to have right. That's perfect balance. So with righteousness, you got to have evil. And evil was made in the form of the Caucasian race, the Edomites, the Bible calls them, the red man, the sons of Esau, yeah, the Idumeans in the Greek. And it says here, but these stories have always raised a difficult question. If these emperors were really so deranged, like the modern day emperors, they had Trump, Donald Trump, and now they got creepy, sleepy Joe Biden. These are the modern day emperors. There's nothing new. They always have this vile spirit in them, yeah. And it says, if these emperors were really so deranged, how did they become leaders of one of the greatest empires the world has ever known? Why? Because the Lord God gave it to them. Yeah? Remember, they was the firstborn. So they were supposed to get the blessing of rulership forever. But the Lord gave them a dispensation of time. He gave them 3 cracks at it. This is their 3rd crack to try and get it right. You had the Greeks, right? What we're talking about now. The Romans are the so-called white men. All the Greeks were so-called white people. The Romans are so-called white people. Then they fell. Then you got the rebirth, the Renaissance, the rebirth of the Roman Empire. Yeah? And that's what we're in now. It fell around, what was it, about 192, Septimius Severus. And it come back in the 1400s under the Borgias, yeah? And it says here, to sort it out, I spoke with 2 historians, Clifford Ando, a professor of classic and author of imperial ideology and provincial loyalty in the Roman Empire, and Anthony Barrett, a professor of classic and author of Lives of the Caesars. Yeah? And it says, both caution that the most outrageous stories about Roman emperors should be taken with a grain of salt. Don't you mean a bucket or a waterfall of salt? Ancient historians often sought favor with a new emperor by slandering old ones. Nothing new then. What's more, emperors themselves had good incentives to argue that individual nutty emperors of the past were Rome's biggest problem, rather than the imperial system. Even so, the tenure of the craziest emperors illuminates the big flaws in the Roman system, not least the fact that it relied on a succession system that really rewarded the best leaders. It includes some great gossip too. Caligula had sex with his sisters. My gosh. That's why Hans Blix, what's his name, Hans Fritzl in Germany had sex with his own daughters. This is what this man does, yeah? It says here, Caligula had sex with his sisters and gave his horses a marble house. This is the Greco-Romans. They say that they're nutty. Nutty is an understatement. These Caucasians are crazy as 3 nuts on a chimpanzee, yeah? It says here, Emperor Caligula. So why? It says here, the best gossip, he lived in the habit of incest with all his sisters at the table. When much company was present, he placed each of them in turns below him, whilst his wife reclined above him. Suetonius. Fucking hell. He also consecrated himself to his own service to appoint his horse a fellow priest, and dainty and expensive birds were sacrificed to him daily. Cassius Dio. How he got power. Caligula is Rome's most famously perverse emperor, in part due to popular portrayals that were fantastically salacious. But he also broke ground for the imperial system, as Barrett writes in Caligula, the corruption of power. You can watch the movie. It's called Caligula. Caligula enjoyed complacent Senate and the support of the military, both of which set a pattern for power that lasted for centuries. a young guy totally out of his depth. And it says, he also set the precedent for experience. The adopted grandson of his political predecessor, Emperor Tiberius, Caligula was actually the son of a popular soldier, Germanicus. The Roman belief in strong bloodlines, which proved so problematic. And that's why you see, like, the royal family, they keep it in-house. When you rich people, they sleep with close relatives. Yeah? These guys are the same. There's nothing new under the sun, as it says. They do the same thing. They're repetitive in their wickedness, in their evil. Yeah, they can't do right. Well, they said Eddie Murphy in the prison film, can't do right or can't get right. That's Esau. He can't get right. And it says here, over the centuries, made Caligula emperor. There seems to have been a really naive notion, where it says that Caligula would follow in the footsteps of his father. In many ways, Caligula seems more incompetent than malicious. My inclination with Caligula is to think of him as a young guy totally out of his depth, Barrett says. So what does he do? He waffles. Yeah? That's what this man does. He waffles his way through society, acting like he's somebody he isn't. Yeah? Acting like he's all butch and manly when he's not. He's effeminate and he's girly. Yeah? It says here, it was the system that was wrong. Caligula was probably no better or worse than 99% of Romans. Because they're like they say about us, oh, I don't, black people, they're all the same. Can't tell the difference. Well, we can say that about your sexual activities. All so-called Caucasians, Edomites, are homosexuals. And all of their women are lesbians. In the right environment, them tendencies come out. Yeah? Because there's not a God gene in them. You know, when they talk about God gene, these Edomites, you wouldn't find one piece of God gene in them. You'll find the Satan gene. Yeah. And it says, it doesn't help our perception of Caligula's incompetence is exaggerated by myth. Contrary to popular belief, Caligula did not make his horse consensual or senator. Even the most extreme early historical sources are clear on this. Yes, he threatened to make his horse consul, but it was a commentary on his low opinion of the Senate, not his high option of his horse. So he was just taking the piss out of his Senate, saying that he'd prefer to put his horse as a consul than the people that had around him. Nero was like Justin Bieber, controlling an army. Justin Bieber. What did he say about nigga, 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 nigga? Why do black people hate chainsaws? Because it says run nigga, 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 run nigga, nigga, nigga. Justin Bieber's joke, yeah? The white boy wants to act like he's black. Yeah, and a lot of these Negroes have got them round him, like Floyd Mayweather, when he went to box, he had that nigga, nigga, nigga Justin Bieber with him, yeah? Says, right, Emperor Nero. Let's read about Emperor Nero. Says there, the best gossip. Says there, he at last invented an extraordinary kind of diversion, which was to be let out of a den in the arena, covered with the skin of a wild beast, and then assail with violence and private parts both of men and women. My gosh, this man is perverted. He likewise sang tragedies in a mask. The visors of the heroes of gods, as also of the heroines and goddesses. So, but he was idolatrous, being formed into a resemblance of his own face and that of any woman he was in love with. Oh, at least it was a woman. How he got power. Nero illustrated once again the over resilience in Rome culture in familiar connections. When he was a boy, Barrett says, he didn't think anybody would have imagined he'd become an emperor. Yeah? Just like creepy jeepers, Joe Biden. But Nero benefited from the work of his mother, Agrippina. A talented manipulator who became the fourth wife of Emperor Claudius, and masterminded promotions and appointments to pave Nero's path. So like Alexander the Greek's mother. See, they all got that in them. The Edomites are very slippery, cunning, under the web, serpent-like. To be clear, Nero's early reign as emperor actually wasn't so bad. About Nero, people in the ancient world were somewhat divided. Ando says, there's a judgment later historians made after his death that his reign had an early good phase with two advisors, Seneca and Baruas. Nero didn't fiddle while Rome burned. But Ado adds, once he became in charge himself, his various synchronicities became more obvious. Among other things, Nero seemed more obsessed with being an artist than a politician. We are told he was a competent poet, Barrett says. That just wasn't the right skill for a leader. Even so, Nero's later incompetence is often exaggerated. Contrary to popular belief, Nero did not actually fiddle while Rome burned. When we look at the sources, Barrett says, Nero's conduct seemed to be quite exemplary during the Great Fire of Rome in 64 AD. And that's the one he blamed on the Jews, on the Israelites, our people, the blacks, Hispanics and Native Indians. You know that they blame us today? Same thing they done. Nothing new, like I said, under the sun. And it says here, Nero actually acted prudently. He had buildings torn down to help stop the movement of the fire. And after the blaze had subsided, he instituted stricter building codes. So where did the myth about the fiddle come from? Soon after the fire, Nero's plans for a palace in the center of the city cemented his reputation as a decadent and out of touch leader. And that reputation survived long after the real story behind the fire was forgotten. Commodus played gladiator and thought he was Hercules. Commodus, remember that gladiator, Russell Crowe? That was Commodus. Yeah, he wanted to sleep with his sister as well, right? Because these Romans are, these Edomites are way off. Like I said, because they ain't got no spiritual balance. They're reprobates. And our people want to be just like white people. They aspire to be just like these devils, thinking that there's something great because they're in power. No, their power is about to subside. As you can see, there's coronavirus and there's all these other things in the world today. This is because he is the devil the Bible speaks of. His time is coming where he's got to be moved out the way. Yeah? And it says here, Emperor Commodus, the best gossip, says here, he actually cut off the head of the Colossus, a substitute for it, a likeness of his own head. Then, having given it to a club and placed a bronze lion at its feet, so as to cause it to look like Hercules. There it is there. Damn idiot. He descended to the arena from his place above and cut down all the domestic animals that approached him, and some also that were led up to him or were brought before him in nets. He also killed a tiger, and a hippopotamus, and an elephant. You know, hunter, he loves bloodthirsty, loves to kill animals. There's nothing changed about him. He's the same reprobate demon what loves to murder and kill. Yeah? How he got power. You may be familiar with Commodus from the movie Gladiator. Yeah, as I just mentioned. In reality, he probably didn't come to power by murdering his father. Marcus Aurelius instead had become emperor because his father was overly sentimental. One of the emperor's most beloved and admired is Marcus Aurelius, says Ando. And when Marcus Aurelius died, he had to know his son was unsuitable.
Yeah, I saw it on the Kardashians.
But as soon as the first emperor to have a son had one, sorry, I don't know what I was reading there, he turned around and gave it to his son. The binds of family were powerful in Rome. Powerful in Roman culture, even though the ability to find good leadership through good blood had been disproven many times, even before Rome became an empire. Noble families were a painstakingly preserved tradition, and that culture was hard to break away from. From there, bad advisors didn't help. One aspect of each of their reigns, Addo says, is that their reign went bad more or less in lockstep with the speed with which they shed intelligence officers and replaced those with people who enabled their weirdness. Because the Edomites are weird people, man. They eat raw meat still, man. They are weird. They are weird people. Yeah? Reprobate, weird people. Yeah, up until now. Because what are they? They're from the mountains, man. They're from the Caucasus Mountains, and from Mount Seir, man. Cavemen. They're weird. And it goes on, massacred his own people. You got all these emperors, you can go on and on and on and on with these crackers. Yeah, but so let's get some scripts and finish out, because I can go all day long with Esau. He's a damn reprobate. So let's get the scripts. Battery running low, so let me just do it quickly. Battery running low. Before it runs out, let's get a couple of scripts. Let's get, this is John 8:44. Ye of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you would do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of lies. The father of them, yeah? Let's quickly run them off. Let's get Ecclesiastes 7:13. Consider the work of God, for who can make that straight which he have made crooked? God made the so-called white man crooked. You can't straighten him out. He's going to be a homosexual to the day he dies. This is Habakkuk 2:4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. The soul was in the so-called Edomites is not upright. Yeah? He's going to be a homosexual to the day he dies. Yeah? He can't help himself. Yeah, so I'm going to say, Call Allah, Yah Bashim Yahweh Bahashim Mikar Kadesh, double honors the apostles and elders of great millstone, and salutation to the Akim pushing this word in truth and sincerity. We say, Kwam Yasharala, or Wa Ababa Bo, destruction to Babylon. We're at the end of Esau's reign, and it's a beautiful thing watching the prophecies pop off the pages. Yeah, so let's hope Russia invades Ukraine and lights the fuse for early fireworks night. Shalom.